Hello everyone, this is Habil Alam, and the topic for my second key paper review presentation is nanotubes as nanoprobes in scanning probe microscopy. This article was authored by Honji Dai, Jason H. Hefner, Andrew G. Rinzler, Daniel T. Colbert, and Riker D. Smalley. So let's look at the outline of this presentation. So I will start with a little bit about this paper, and then we will see a short video about scanning probe microscopy. Then we will discuss what happened in this paper, what are the contributions of this paper, what are the applications, the limitations, state of the art technology, in conclusion. So let's start. This paper was published in Nature Journal, Letters to Nature, 1996. This paper was published by researchers located at Rice Center for Nanoscience and Technology at Rice University. The PI of this paper was Riker D. Smalley, who is a Nobel laureate, and this paper has been cited more than 2,500 times. This is one of the first works on attaching carbon nanotubes as tips for AFM and STM, which combinedly known as SPM, scanning probe microscopy. So it showed the potential of carbon nanotubes as tips for scanning probe microscopy. So let's see a short video. In this video, we will discuss a little bit about scanning probe microscopy techniques, which comprises of scanning tunneling microscope and atomic force microscope. So by the end of this video, I do assume that everyone will have a little idea about these techniques so that they can easily understand what was the contribution or what did the researchers actually do. So let's see this video.
Microscope works on the principle of tunneling effect. The tunneling effect is the quantum mechanical phenomenon in which the particle having energy less than the height of energy barrier crosses the barrier. The scanning tunneling microscope has a small nano-sized tip which comes very close to the sample. When electric potential difference is applied between the tip and the sample, the electrons from the sample are tunneled to the tip. The small electric current produced by the tunneled electrons is amplified and sent to the computer. Based on the recordings of the tunneling current, the information about the surface of the specimen is known. The magnitude of the tunneling current obtained depends on the distance between the tip and the sample. The atomic force microscope was invented in 1986 with a modification in scanning tunneling microscope. The atomic force microscope works on the principle of attractive and repulsive forces at the atomic level. Force microscope uses a small nano-sized tip which can be either attracted or repelled by the atoms present in the sample. The earlier versions of atomic force microscope employed the use of scanning tunneling microscope tip, which recorded the oscillation of the cantilever based on the tunneling current obtained. However, it was later on replaced by a laser and a mirror, which would record the oscillation of the tip. As the cantilever moves up and down depending on the sample surface, the laser is deflected and gives information about the sample surface. There are three main modes in which the atomic force microscope is operated: contact mode, non-contact mode, and the tapping mode.
So now I assume that each and everyone has a little idea about scanning probe microscopy techniques. Sorry, even though we do discuss this in class, but I think it would be a nice video to add in and it would be a good refresher. So what happened in that paper, that at that time there was no or very little work was actually done on tip or probe improvement. So they developed single walled and multi-walled nanotubes and then attached them to the tip of cantilever by using a soft acrylic adhesive with the thickness of 1 to 10 nanometer. Sorry. The electrical conductivity of nanotubes was exploited by utilizing them for scanning tunneling microscopy. So you can see those two figures, that figure 1, which is on the top, is the actual figure in which they attach the single and multi-walled nanotubes to the tip. And the second figure, you can see that a probe without carbon nanotube and a probe with the attachment of carbon nanotube and its impact on the imaging. So they also obtained the frequency response of cantilever with mounted nanotubes, which showed the change in tapping amplitude for 3 different frequency scans. You can see in this figure. And they also obtained frequency response for cantilever was mounted in air or dangling in air, and the tip was in water, which illustrated the potential for underwater tapping, which was a breakthrough because with the available tips at that time, it wasn't possible. They also developed multi-wall nanotubes based tips, which can reach into deep trenches. This was also a new contribution because the available tips at that time weren't able to perform this thing. So there are multiple advantages of using nanotubes as probes or tips, that they are resistant to damage from tip crashes because of their flexibility. Their slenderness allowed them to image sharp recesses. They can regain their original position, just like the principle of old side view mirror of a car. So if we look at the examples or applications of this, that if we use chemical and biological coated probes, they have multiple applications is in intermolecular force measurement, sensing, surface mapping, hydrophobic promotion. The semiconductor nanocrystal functionalized probes or the probes functionalized with semiconductor nanocrystals can be utilized for sensing of surface topography. They can be utilized for imaging of biological samples like DNA. Due to their electrical conductivity, they can be utilized for charge imaging and functionalizing. They have multiple applications as probes in scanning tunneling microscopes. There are some limitations to attaching these nanotubes to, because the attachment of these two nanotubes to tip is very difficult and time consuming. As they are long nanotubes, they have internal thermal vibrations due to which difficulties arise in atomic force microscopy imaging. If you look at the state-of-the-art materials used for tips, they are silicon, silicon nitride, gold, diamond, etc. Instead of attachment, what we do is we grow them on the tip by using latest techniques. The tip radius is between 1 to 10 nanometer, depending upon the application. So you can see in the image that the tip is being grown, how we can grow materials on the tip. And there are multiple advantages of using those materials, that they are wear resistant. There is a high reliability in electrical measurements. There is a stability in shape during imaging. In the bottommost picture, you can see that there are multiple sort of tips available, depending, which may vary from application to application. So in conclusion, I would like to conclude that this paper showed the potential of using nanotubes as nanoprobes, and it illustrates the potential. It paved a way for attachment of different materials as tips for scanning probe microscopy. It also paved a way, paved way for improvement of tip by either using different materials or using different sort of tips, or how the tips itself can be improved in scanning probe microscopy. The PI of this research, Rikard Smalley, is winner of multiple scientific awards. He has won Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1996. The same year he wrote this paper, he submitted this paper. He was in top 75 distinguished contributors in chemical and engineering news. He was awarded Lifetime Achievement Award by Small Times Magazine in 2003 and multiple other awards. Unfortunately, Dr. Smalley died in 2005 after battling with cancer for 6 years. But I think that the work he has done in the field of chemistry, science, and nanotechnology will always remain with us. And this is the taking point for me from his work, or for any scientist work, that what he has contributed in the field of science or for towards society. So this is all from my side. If you do have any questions, kindly drop a comment under my video. I will try to get back to you guys. Thank you very much, and Allah Hafiz.